I know it's hard to believe, but for the first time in a really long time, I'm venturing into the wild. Instead of just going to school and the gym and hanging out at home with Pi, I am actually going to an Hermes event, which it's been ages since I last did something like this, and I'm not exactly sure what this event is all about. I know that it's not an event as in that it's a party, because I feel like everyone who got an invitation got assigned an appointment. All I know is that I was asked if I would be interested in stopping by my local store to have a look at some new pieces of fine jewelry. I have no idea whether we're going to be shown a new collection or just a roundup of some of Hermes's most popular pieces, but I figured who better to bring along than you guys. So I hope you don't mind being my plus one and seeing what this jewelry day is all about. And since we are going to be there, I thought we might as well have a quick browse to see what else they have in stock for fall winter. And if I have the time, I would also love to stop by Loewe, maybe pass by Dior, and also Loro Piana. Unfortunately, I don't have all day. I have to rush back home to walk by before I have a lecture in the afternoon, but one thing is for sure, we'll make the most of the time that we have together. So if you'd like to come along and see what's new in stores for fall winter, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. If you have ever tried to buy a piece of fine jewelry from Hermes, you most likely know that unless you shop at one of their flagships, it's not like picking up a popular piece from a brand like Cartier or one CLEEF, brands that tend to have drawers filled with pieces in different colors and sizes. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Most Hermes boutiques will have a handful of designs available at a time in one, maybe two sizes if you're lucky. So to give their jewelry enthusiast clients a chance to play around with more of their pieces, my boutique gathered a really nice collection of both popular and more exclusive pieces of jewelry, and actually closed down their jewelry métier for their viewing pleasures. Now, the first pieces that caught my eye were not actually pieces of jewelry. Instead, it was these two bags, which could have not been any more appropriate to be placed on display at an event that was all about gold jewelry, which are the newly launched Mini Kelly and Constance bags in the color Doré, which is one of the most exclusive colors that Hermes has done in a really long time, and they are actually new for this current season. And if you would like to find out more about it and how you can add this eye-catching shade to your collection, make sure to have a recent What's New from Hermes update linked in the corner for you. And by the way, these bags are currently display only, but I assume at one point they will be up for grabs. I assume it's going to go to someone who invested in a piece of fine jewelry at the event. And speaking of jewelry, we did not come here for bags, although we'll also look at another new design from Hermes. But let's move on to jewelry, and let's start with one of the most recent additions to the Hermes jewelry family, the so-called Clou Dash collection, which draws inspiration from no other than the brand's iconic CDC range, which you know I am a huge fan of. And they basically disassembled the CDC collection to its core elements. And one of them being the Medor Pyramid is what this collection is built upon. The Medor Pyramid, or also known as Clos Medor, is a really bold and contemporary design. And even though this collection is quite expensive, my favorite design by far is the so-called Clou Dash ring, which exclusively comes in rose gold, either with or without diamonds. This one showcases 85 diamonds to be exact, and of course it looks beautiful on its own, as you can see here, but personally I think it would look best being stacked with another Hermes ring like my Ashdunk here. As I'm showing you here, unfortunately it was too small for me to actually wear it with the Ashdunk ring, but it did look beautiful when I put them together. But even cooler than this, I think, would be to have this stacked with the CDC ring in rose gold, which is a piece that I own and love. And if you're in the same boat, but you would like to style it slightly differently, perhaps if you would like to elevate it, I would suggest looking into this piece, which, as I mentioned, does come both with and without diamonds. But if you're a fan of a little bit of sparkle, this version retails for $10,600. And speaking of sparkle, this might blind you, although it's nothing new. It is the bracelet version of my beloved Ashdunk ring, which of course is inspired by the anchor chains, which is a motif that's been in use by the House of Hermes since 1938. And while these bangles haven't been around for quite that long, they are a classic. They're offered in all three shades of gold, and as you can see, with a handful of diamonds or an abundance of them. I think if you enjoy things along the lines of the Cartier Love Bracelet, or if you're really into your wrist candy stack, you'll appreciate this simple design that really goes with anything and everything. Personally, on me, I don't think I could pull this design off, at least not on its own. I would have to stack it with some other pieces. But long story short, they are always around and they range between 65 and 36,000 euros. Of course, the pavé version being on the higher end of the spectrum. As beautiful as the Ush Dunk range is, it's nothing you haven't seen before. This collection, however, will take your breath away, which is the so-called Attache collection. Again, the inspiration here is the iconic Sean Dunk chain, but it's been slightly distorted, almost like a Dali painting, and it's been paired with some more chunky utilitarian motifs that of course pay tribute to the origins of harness making. This ring and the matching bracelet, which I haven't seen before in person, I think I am pretty sure I saw this for the first time in a campaign and I was just blown away by the impact that these pieces make, but it's not something I ever thought I would have a chance to see in person. Anyway, the matching bracelet and the ring were my favorite pieces of the day, and the ring costs $17,600. It's offered in rose gold and it's set with just over 1 carat of diamonds. And fun fact, this ring runs huge. We were both really surprised that this ring fit me because it was in size 53, and all of my Hermes rings are in size 57 or 58, but this in 53 was just the perfect fit. And last but most certainly not least, the cherry on the cake, the main characters of today's vlog, if you will, is this range of exclusive pieces of fine jewelry that specially arrived from Paris in this jewelry trunk. I was told that each one of these pieces is the last one in Europe and they're no longer available to be ordered. So to some extent, they are one of a kind. And while none of them are my cup of tea, I took one for the team and I took it upon myself to try most of them on for us. The first piece is a necklace from the Nilo Croc inspired collection that was created by Pierre Hardy a few years ago at this point. And this sort of almost lace-like pattern is actually inspired by the scales of one of Hermes's most precious leathers, their Nilo Croc. This necklace comes in rose gold set with diamonds and a single pearl, and it costs 43,000 euros. And then this ring is also inspired by the Nilo Croc, but it's from the so-called Black to Light collection, which plays with the juxtaposition of light and shade. It features black jades and white diamonds on this really cool double ring setup. But if you're not a fan of color gems and you prefer your diamonds and you would like to invest in a Nilo Croc inspired piece, perhaps to go with your Nilo Croc collection, this ring not only features an abundance of tiny little pavé diamonds, but it also features some larger ones, including this beautiful pear or teardrop shaped diamond on top, which is definitely not for the faint of heart. Along the same line, for those who are looking to make a statement and are not bound by a strict budget, here is one of the most substantial pieces of fine jewelry I have ever seen. The CDC bracelet in solid rose gold set with hundreds of diamonds, which, side note, isn't the largest one of the collection. There is an even larger, more chunky solid rose gold CDC, but this is the only one that my boutique had available, and it can be yours for 83,000 euros. But if you prefer a more delicate tennis bracelet inspired piece with an Hermes touch, let me introduce you to the so-called Finesse Eternity bracelet that is set with some very unique pastel green sapphires. And before we briefly pop over to Bottega, I had to show you another new launch for fall winter, the Mini Kelly jump bag, which I have a hunch will be all the craze over the next couple of seasons. It's essentially a new mini take on the Kelly Ado backpack with a weird side pocket, which, let's be honest, would really only fit your AirPods, but that's topic for another day. If you're really into your Kelly inspired mini bags and prefer a more casual silhouette, these are out and about now in either Swift or ostrich leather, and were you not, they are not considered a quota bag. The only other store I frankly had the mental capacity to check out was Bottega, and I was on a very specific mission. I wanted to smell their new fragrances that had just launched earlier that week, but I resisted the temptation to blind buy one online, and I'm so grateful for that because, to be really honest, the packaging is 10 times more special than any one of the juices. Now, don't get me wrong, they're all decently nice, but nothing to go crazy for, in my opinion at least, because I am very specific when it comes to fragrances. I enjoy something heavy, dark, full bodied, a scent that lingers and even leaves a mark if I hug someone. And none of these really fit that description, but that doesn't mean they won't work for anyone else. If you're looking for something a little bit less offensive, let's say, you might find one that you enjoy. Now, there are 5 different scents, and the two that I kind of liked, not enough to spend 390 euros on them, but just enough to mention, are Deja Minuit, which has notes of geranium, cardamom, and patchouli. They claim that it is a warm and spicy scent, and yes, it is the warmest and the most full-bodied out of the bunch, but for me, this is still way too lightweight, and I had a feeling that it would go quite cologne on me. And then the other one is Alchemy, which has notes of pink pepper, myrrh, and sandalwood, which has a very soft, sort of milky woodiness to it, but it is still just not my cup of tea. Now, you know, I do love Bottega's ready to wear and their shoes. I am a big fan of their tailoring, of the little details. I feel like when it comes to details, nothing and no one beats Bottega. So if you are looking for some beautifully tailored pants or some beautiful new knits, Bottega is definitely a brand to check out. And then this is a bag I have not seen before. It is very reminiscent, of course, of the Loro Piana Extra Pocket and the Kelly Pochette. So if you are a fan of those more casual, laid back, but still very elegant designs, I think this is a great bag for you to check out, which of course features the incredible woven detail that we know and love Bottega for. And this bag also comes with a removable shoulder strap, which is of course always a huge luxury. But this actually brings us to the end of today's not shopping but browsing vlog. I did not leave Hermes empty-handed. I ended up coming home with something, but let me tell you, it is not a piece of jewelry. I do not want to get your hopes up, but it is something I'll share with you in a later video. But I just want to say a big thank you for coming along on this adventure with me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And I am very excited to see you back here with a new video really, really soon.